What's up, party people? Jude Snowboarder here from Facebook, Jude's Junk Facebook page and shop, Jude's Junk YouTube channel, trying to provide videos for frequently asked questions. And this video is really why I think you should put an estimated grade next to every raw book. The simple reason is that's what we've been doing since the beginning of the grading system. Price guide, the Overstreet price guide's 50 years old, so it started in 1970, and that price guide went up to about 9.4. It didn't go past that, but I started collecting in 1980, and you would go down to a comic book store, and you would want to buy something, but you didn't know how to grade, and so you relied on the comic book store owner to put an estimated grade. Oh, we think it's about an 8.0, we think it's fine, very fine, we think it's whatever. And you basically trusted them if you didn't know how to grade. Well, you ended up getting ripped off, especially as a kid, pretty quickly that way. And then when you're buying and selling comic books in the 80s with your friends in high school, you had to at least have an idea where it was at. So everybody had to learn how to grade comic books prior to 2000 because that's when GPA or CGC started. So grading was normal. Now, you may not be accurate, but you got better at it because you might buy something from your friend and think it's near mint. And you bring it into a store to try to sell it, and they laugh at you and say it's very fine. It's not even close to near mint. And so you learn over the years how to grade. So something's happened over the last 20 years with CGC that a lot of people now think you can't give an estimated grade next to a raw book. And I don't understand that because all the tools suggest you do, except some of the newer tools like Covrprice that only had grades high, medium, and low. That's kind of what spurred on this problem. But if you use CLZ, you have to put in an estimated grade. You have to put in a 9.0, a 9.2, a 9.4. And that tool is not there just to, estimate every book in a 9.8 or every book in a 9.2. That's not very helpful. So if you know anything about psychological tests, or when you go into a hospital, you have to estimate your pain, and the doctor will say, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level? Now, what does that even mean? I'm a 5, I'm a 6. How do you know you're a 6? You're just guessing. Well, you're right. I am just guessing. That's the whole point. And psychological tests, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you are jealous of somebody? 7, and then the next day maybe it's an 8. The point of these subjective estimates, and that's what grading a raw book is, it is a subjective estimate. But if someone's going to buy the book, and let's say I have 5 books, and I say 4 of them are 9.4 and 1 of them's an 8.0, it doesn't matter if those 4 are 9.4 or 9.2 or 9.0. They realize you have 4 that are probably high grade and 1 that's probably a middle of the road grade. I think 8.0 is middle of the road grade. You might think a 5 is middle of the road, but I think an 8.0 is middle of the road grade. So they're getting an idea of how you grade. And once you start to get to know a seller and how they grade, that gives you a better idea of how to buy books from them. So some people might always grade high, and you learn that. Okay, this guy is grading high. By the way, if someone puts a 9.2 next to their book or calls it near mint on eBay, I just ask for 10 pictures. I need one on the front, I need one on the back, I need all 4 corners in the front, all 4 corners in the back, and I'm pretty good at estimating 9.2 to 9.6. Sent in about 300 books this last year to get graded. I just sent in a World War Holt number 5 for a signature event, and I estimated a 9.4. Came back at 9.8. I've sent in 9.2s, came back in 9.8. So I don't think I'm high on my grades. I do know what a 9.6 looks like. So I estimate, hey, this is a 9.6 plus. That means this is something I'd send in a grade and hoping it gets a 9.8. Usually if I estimate 9.4, I'm like, that's not going to ever get a 9.8. There's just too much wrong. But there's some weird grading rules with the corners. Is it a manufacturing split? Is it a manufacturing error? Or is it somebody dropped it and it's a blunted corner? So there's some confusion on how to grade corners, and that's really the trickiest part. Ticks are easy to count. Of course, folds, blemishes, rubs, whatever. So I grade, and if people don't like it, that's fine. You're welcome to ask for pictures. But my 9.2 estimate is not going to be anywhere near a 9.4 or a 9.6. A 9.4 might be half the price of a 9.6. And if you don't like it, that just means you're not in the market to get a 9.6. But people that want to send a pristine book in for a signing, they're getting ready to spend $150 on a signing. It might be a $10 book, but they don't want a 9.4 for a signing. They want a 9.6 plus that, hey, I want a chance to get a 9.8. And so I know how to grade enough. So I say, hey, this is a 9.8, 9.6, 9.8 potential. And again, if you're not in the market to pay the premium for that kind of book, that's fine. But and if you don't believe my grades, that's fine too. You can shop other places. I can tell you this: when you go to eBay and it says it's a 9.2 or a very fine near mint or a 9 near mint minus, you'll be lucky if those are 9.0, 9.2s. A lot of those ones that say, "Oh, it's mint, never been taken out of the bag," really. How did it get in the bag if it's never been taken out of the bag? But I digress. eBay's prices are pretty much 9.0, 9.2s. You'll be lucky to get a 9.4. You'll be really lucky to get a 9.6, 9.8. So my prices for a 9.6 are going to be higher than an eBay 9.2. And people that know how to grade, and they've gotten burned enough on eBay, that are looking for a pristine book to send in. I sold a guy a Wolverine A. I said, hey, this is a 9.6, 9.8. He bought it. I sent it in. He's from South Africa. We sent it into CBCS, my presser, and he got a 9.8 out of it. It's not that hard to grade the high-end books. Now, I do struggle with, 7.5, 8, 7.0, 6.5, 6. That it becomes real tricky. And then, when you get down into the twos, I just sent a giant size X-Men #1 where the cover was ripped off. And from what I hear, if you put tape around it, it should still get a 2.0, even with tape. So I'm hoping for a 2.0. Maybe I'll get a 1.8, but I'm sending that in. So anyways, the lower grades are much more harder to estimate. I know this video is going long, but a lot of buyers actually get mad that I estimate a grade, and I don't get it because that's what we all did. All through the 80s and 90s, we had to estimate grades to buy, sell, trade. I may not like low grades. There's whole Facebook pages, groups just dedicated to low grade books. Some people love low grade books. Some people like partial pages of books. Me personally, I only want 9.6s and 9.8s in my collection. That's just after 40 years of collecting. That's what I want. Silver Age and Golden Age, of course, I'll make an exception. I just bought a 9.4 1952 book. Cost me $5,000. So, John Carter, Warlord of Mars, the first solo title of his. It's the highest grade available, 9.4. That is nice to me. I don't want a whole bunch of moldy, smelling, old, ripped up, tattered books. They just don't appeal to me. And I'm trying to downsize my large collection into something manageable. Anyways, I do put grades on. I'm not worried about people asking for a refund because it's an INAD. That's an eBay thing. I don't sell on eBay, but people that got used to sell on eBay are worried about INAD, so they don't want to put a grade on there. That's not a comic book thing. That's a buy-sell eBay thing that has grown up because people were buying and selling on eBay until Marketplace started blowing up over the last 5 years and getting popular. So anyways, if you don't trust my grades, I'm the guy who will be happy to give you 10 pictures. 10 good pictures with a good phone, good lighting, so you can see everything. And most of my buyers that have given me feedback, because I don't ask for feedback, I don't need it, say that they were spot on grades. And I pack really, really well too. That's key. Sell a 9.6 and you don't pack it well. What's the point? So anyways, I understand that might be new information for a lot of the newer collectors since 2000. I think every seller, if I have a seller that's trying to sell a book, I don't want to spend 5 minutes looking through 10 picks. If he's even willing to give 10 picks, I only want a 9.6 and something. I'm willing to pay the premium. And I ask for picks, and he doesn't send good picks. He sends bad picks, blurry picks, 1 pick, 2 picks. I'm walking away. I want to know if this is a nice book or not. And the fact that he's not willing to say, hey, this is a high grade book. Okay, 8.5 is high grade. That's not cutting it with me. I want to know, is this a 9.0, 9.2? Because I don't want it if it is. I want to know if it's a 9.6 plus. And a lot of people say, I don't know. And I say, that's fine. Send me pictures. Well, I'm happy to send pictures because I know the buyers out there like me want a very high grade book and they want to see. So Don't trust my grades. Ask for the 10 pictures. But then I have some buyers who just don't believe in paying a premium for a higher grade book, and they think you can't give a grade to a raw book unless it's professionally graded. And that just doesn't jive with 50 years of history in the comic book industry. CGC is professional graders, and you pay for that professional grade. But we all know 9.8 books that can't get cracked, at least the experienced buyers. You don't crack this 9.8 because it ain't going to come back a 9.8. This is a 9.6 that might come back a 9.8. We know enough about grades to make those decisions. Those are buying and selling slabs a lot. So, anyways, feel free to ask me questions. I won't get defensive. I'll get you the pictures you want. But if you ask for pictures and say, hey, what's that thing on the corner? You said it's a 9.6. And I'll say, hey, you're right. I totally blew it. That's got to be a 9.4, maybe even a 9.2 with that kind of crunch. So I'm happy to talk about grades as if we were in person. And that's what I try to build, is that in-person experience with another collector where he's looking over the book, admiring it. And he may not buy it, but he's enjoying looking at it. And so I'm trying in my sales tactics or techniques is to recreate that in-person experience so the buyer has the best experience. Anyways, happy hunting, guys. Hope this helps.